Welcome back, students. So, it's our next chapter, electricity, that is chapter 12, electricity. So, you know electricity. What is electricity? In lower class, you studied about electricity. Actually, it's a flow of charges. It's a flow of charges. So, electricity provides us electrical energy. Electricity provides us with an form of energy called electrical energy. It's a convenient form of energy. Electricity is used in our home, industries, in many other places. For example, electricity is used in our homes for lighting bulb, tubes, operating different appliances. In industries, we are using to operate different machines. So, what is electricity? That is the flow of charges. Now, which type of charges? That is a flow of negative charges or electrons. So, before dealing with electricity, we will just recap the structure of an atom and all those things. Okay. So, we know all objects are made up of tiny materials known as atoms. Okay. The center portion of the atom is known as a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, protons will be there. Protons is having positive charge and neutrons will be there. Neutrons, no charge is there for a neutron. Okay. So, as a whole, the nucleus is positively charged. Okay. Nucleus is positively charged because inside the nucleus protons are there, protons are having positive charge and neutrons are there, no charge is there for neutrons. So, as a whole, the nucleus is positively charged. Then, outside the nucleus, electrons will be there. That electrons are revolving in different orbit and it's having negative charge. Okay, and it's having negative charge. So, that is a structure of an atom. Okay, as a whole, atom is electrically neutral. Means the number of positive charges and the number of negative charges will be same. Means the number of protons and the electrons in an atom is same. So, as a whole, the atom is electrically neutral. Okay. So, the protons remain attached to the atom as they are present inside the nucleus, but the electrons having negative charge may not always stay attached to the atoms as they lie outside the nucleus. The outermost electron of a metal atom are loosely bounded and can easily become free to move inside the metal. These electrons are not bound to any particular atom and move freely inside the metal in a random manner. So, these electrons are called free electrons. Therefore, conductors like metals contains a large number of free electrons or loosely bounded electrons which can move from one point to the other point of the conductor or from one end to the other end of the conductor. So, actually the movement of electrons, that is known as electric current. Okay. When the two terminals of a cell are connected to a bulb with the help of a copper wire, then the electron starts flowing from the negative terminal of the cell into the wire, then enters the positive terminal of the cell. So, the flow of electron in an particular direction in the conductor generates electric current. The force which makes the electrons move comes from the cell. The force which makes the electron to move, that is provided by the cell. Okay. So, what is the direction of electric current? The concept of electrons was not known at the time when the phenomena of electricity was discovered. So, some considered that electric current is due to the flow of positive charges and that was taken as the direction of electric current. The conventional direction of electric current is from positive terminal of the cell to the negative terminal of the cell. So, in almost all circuit diagrams, we provide arrow on the circuit diagrams or on the connecting wires pointing from the positive terminal to the negative terminal of the cell, okay, to show the direction of conventional current. But now we know that the electric current is not due to the flow of positive charges, but it is due to the flow of negative charges, that is electrons. So, electrons will flow from negative terminal of the cell to the positive terminal of the cell. Okay. The flow of electrons is from negative terminal of the cell to the positive terminal of the cell, which is just opposite to the direction of conventional current. So, electronic current and conventional current is there. Conventional current is from positive terminal to the negative terminal of the cell, and electronic current is from the negative terminal to the positive terminal of the cell. So, here this is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, protons and neutrons are there. Protons, positively charged particles, no charge is there for neutrons. Electrons are revolving around the nucleus in different orbits and it is having negatively charged. So, here you can see this is the direction of conventional current, that is from the positive terminal of the battery, to the negative terminal of the battery. That is the direction of conventional current. Electronic current will flow from the negative terminal of the battery to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay. That is electronic current. Now, we know electric current means a flow of charges, negatively charged particles. Now, what is the equation to find current? As we know, current is charge. It is a flow of negatively charged particles or electrons. So, we have an equation like this: current is equal to Q by T. That is, if a net charge Q flows across any cross section of a conductor in time t, then the current through that cross section is I, then I is equal to Q by T. Q is charge and the SI unit is coulomb, it is represented by the letter C. Now, 1 coulomb means 6 into 10 raised to 8, 18 electrons, 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. Then current SI unit is ampere, is denoted by the letter capital A. Now, ammeter is the instrument used to measure current in a circuit and it is connected in series. It is having low resistance. The symbol of ammeter is this one. The symbol of ammeter is this one, and in this way we will connect it in a circuit. The symbol of ammeter is this one, and in this way we will connect it in a circuit. It is always connected in series. What is series connection? We will discuss later. Then, smaller units of current is from milliampere and microampere. Milliampere means 10 raised to minus 3 ampere and microampere means 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. Now, we need to define 1 ampere current. Okay, 1 ampere. We know the equation I is equal to Q by T. I is equal to Q by T. Now, how we will define 1 ampere current? 1 ampere equal to 1 coulomb by 1 second. 1 coulomb by 1 second. So, 1 ampere current is constituted by the flow of 1 coulomb of charge in 1 second. 1 coulomb of charge in 1 second. If 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second, then we call it as 1 ampere current. 1 ampere current. Next we will do a problem. A current of 0.5 ampere is drawn by a filament of an electric bulb for 20 minutes. Find the amount of electric charge that flows through the circuit. Okay. So, current is I. Current is given 0.5 ampere. Current is given as 0.5 ampere and time is given as 20 minutes. How we will convert minutes to seconds? Multiply by 60. So, 20 into 60 that is equal to seconds. Okay. Now, we need to find a equation to find charge. So, we know the equation I is equal to Q by T. Just cross multiply it. Q equal to I into T. So, I is how much? 0.5 ampere into 1200 seconds. When you multiply this one, you will get it as 600 coulomb. When you do the calculation, you will get it as 600 coulomb. That is the answer. 600 coulomb. Then, I did a triangle like this. So, from this one, we know the equation to find I. I is equal to Q by T. I is equal to, I is this much, this one. I is equal to Q by T. Q by T. Now, how we will calculate Q? Q is equal to I into T. Q is equal to I into T. Now, how we will find T? Q by I. Q by I. T is equal to Q by I. Okay. So, if you know this one, then it will be very easy for you to write the equation. Okay. But this should be written correctly. Okay. Then one more question. Calculate the number of electrons constituting 1 coulomb of charge. Means, in 1 coulomb of charge, how many electrons will be there? How many electrons will be there? Now, what is the charge of an electron? One charge of an electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So, in 1 coulomb of charge, how many electrons is there? So, for that, we need an equation. Q is equal to N into E. This is known as quantization of charge. Okay, that N can be a number. So, Q is equal to N into E. Now, this Q is 1C and E, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 C. That is a charge of an electron. Okay. So, Q equal to 1 C and E equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. We need to find this N. So, N is equal to Q by E. N is equal to Q by E. That is 1C divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 C. Now, take this 10 raised to minus 19 to the numerator. That is 10 raised to 19 C divided by 1.6 C. C and C will get cancelled. When you do it, you will get the answer like this: 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. So, we will write it like this: N is equal to 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. Okay. So, how many electrons will be there in 1 coulomb of charge? This much electrons will be there in 1 coulomb of charge. Okay. 6 into 10 raised to 18 electrons will be there in 1 coulomb of charge. Now, we need to define another physical quantity, that is electric potential and potential difference. Electric potential and potential difference. Okay. So, what is the reason for the flow of electric charges? Okay. So, we told that, or we know that when you connect a battery or a cell, that electrons will flow from the negative terminal of the cell to the positive terminal of the cell. So, what is the reason for that flow of charges? Okay. So, that we will discuss here. Okay. So, if a simple copper wire is kept there, we know metals having a large number of free electrons. Okay. In metals, large number of free electrons are there. So, if simply a copper wire is there like this, it's not connected to a cell, simple a copper wire is there, then the electrons will not move from one end to the another. Okay. The electrons will not move from one end of the copper rod to the other end of the copper rod. If you connect it to a cell, then only the electrons will move from one end of the copper rod to the other end of the copper rod. So, what is the reason for that movement of electrons? Okay. So, that we will discuss here. Okay. So, before that, we will consider this example. So, here 2 tanks are there, 2 water tanks are there, or to just consider 2 cans. Name it as tank A and tank B, and the level of water in both tanks are same. Level of water in both tanks are same. So, and I connected this tank with the help of a pipe. Okay. So, no water will flow from tank A to tank B, or from tank B to tank A. What is the reason? Yeah, the reason is that the level of water in both tanks are same. So, further flow will not be there. Okay. Now, you consider this. In this one, I increase the water level of tank A. I pour more water on in tank A. Okay. So, the water level in the tank A is increased. Now, you can see the water will flow from tank A to B. The water will flow from tank A to B. Now, what is the reason? It's having a higher water level. Okay. Tank A, it's having more water, or the water level is more in tank A. Okay, that is the reason for the flow of water from A to B. It will continue till both the tank reaches the same water level. If both tanks have same water level, then further flow of water will not be there from tank A to B or from B to A. Okay. So, here first we consider two tanks. The water level in both tanks are same. So, the water will not flow from A to B or from B to A. In the second case, we increase the water level in tank A and you can see that the water will flow from A to B. The reason is that there is a change in the water level. There is a change in the water level. Okay. So, tank A is having more water level when compared to tank B. Once the both tank achieve the same water level, further flow of water will not be there. Okay. In the same way, these electrons will move from higher potential area to lower potential area. Electrons will move from excess electron to deficient. Okay. So, now here we consider two spheres. It's charged. One is having an excess electrons and the other one is having a deficiency of electron. Okay. Excess electrons means number of electrons is more in sphere B, and in sphere A the number of electrons is less. So, if more electrons are there means it is having negative charge, and if less electrons are there means it is having positive charge. Okay. Now, if we connect a metal wire from A to B, if we connect a metal wire from sphere A to B or from B to A, then the current will flow, and the direction of current flow is determined by a quantity called potential difference. The current will flow and the direction of current flow is determined by the quantity called potential difference. So, the conductor having excess of electron is negatively charged and said to be at a lower potential, and the conductor which is having deficiency of electrons and is positively charged and said to be at higher potential. Keeping the convention of the flow from higher to lower level, electric current is said to flow from a region of higher potential to lower potential. That is the conventional direction of electric current. Electric current will flow from higher potential to lower current, that is from A to B. Electric current will flow from A to B, but electrons will flow from B to A. Electrons will flow from B to A, from lower potential to higher potential. That is the direction of electronic current, and electric current flows from higher potential to lower potential. The movement of electrons or the flow of electrons or the flow of current continues as long as there is a difference in potential between the two conductors. If there is a potential difference between these two conductors, then only the current will flow from one sphere to another sphere, or the electrons will flow from one sphere to another sphere. Means, if there is a potential difference, then current will flow from A to B, or electrons will flow from B to A. Once the two conductors have the same potential, then further flow will not be there, or the current flow will stop. Okay. So, once both the spheres acquire the same potential, if they have same potential, then current flow will not take place. Current flow will not take place. So, electric potential, as you know, like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Hence, work is involved in moving a charge in and around another charge. Therefore, quantitatively, the potential is measured in terms of work done in moving charge against the force of repulsion. Quantitatively, potential difference means it's a work done to move a charge against the force of repulsion of another charges. Electric potential at a point in an electric field is defined as the work done in bringing a unit charge, means unit positive charge, from infinity to that point, or potential difference between any two points in an electric field is defined as the amount of work done to move a charge from one point to another. Means like this, if you want to move a charge from one point to another, if you want to move a charge from one point to another, if you want to move a charge from B to A, then we need to do some work, and that is known as the potential difference. So, potential difference is defined as the work done to move a charge from one point to another. Okay. Potential difference is potential difference between two points in a current carrying conductor is defined as the work done to move a charge from one point to another. Okay. So, potential difference is work done by charge. We know the equation, it is represented by the letter V, work done is represented by the letter W and charge by Q. So, those are SI units. Potential difference is represented in volt, capital V, work done, joule, J, and Q, coulomb, C. Now, we need to define 1 volt. 1 volt is a potential difference between any two points in a current carrying conductor when 1 joule of work is to be done to move 1 coulomb of charge, 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another. It is a work done to move a charge from one point to another, that is potential difference. So, 1 volt is a potential difference across a conductor or between two points in a current carrying conductor is defined as the when 1 joule of work is to be done to move 1 coulomb of charge from one point to another. Now, the potential difference is measured with the help of an instrument known as voltmeter. It is measured with the help of an instrument called voltmeter. This is a symbol used to represent the voltmeter, and it is connected in parallel and it is having high resistance. The resistance of the voltmeter is very high. So, in this way we will connect a voltmeter across the circuit or in a circuit. It is always connected in parallel. Now, other instruments used to measure voltage is potentiometer and oscilloscope, that is also there. Then we will do one problem. How much work is done in moving a charge of 3 coulomb across the 2 points having a potential difference of 15 volt. So, volt is given, V is given 15 volt, Q is given 3Z. We need to find the work done. Work done we need to calculate. We know the equation, potential difference equal to work by charge, work by charge. So, when you cross multiply this one, W is equal to V into Q, V into Q. So, V is 15 volt into 3C. So, that is 45 joule. The answer is 45 joule. That is a potential difference. So, the instrument used to measure potential difference is voltmeter, and the device which maintain potential difference across the conductor is a cell or a battery. Okay. The device which will provide potential difference across the cell or across a conductor is a cell or a battery. So, I told you, if you keep a copper wire, as you know, copper is a good conductor of electricity. So many free electrons are there, but the electrons will not move from one end to another. If you connect a battery across the 2 ends, then the electrons will move from one end of the copper wire to the other. Means that potential difference, that force which makes the electrons to move, that is provided by the cell or the battery. Okay. The force which makes the electrons to move from one end of the copper rod to the other end is provided by the battery or the cell which is connected across the copper wire. So, an instrument which measures potential difference is voltmeter, and the device which maintains potential difference across a conductor is cell or battery. Okay. Thank you.